Okay, it's time for the second speaker. It's Sziraki from Budapest University of Technology and Economics, and she will talk about applications of open-D hypergraph dichotomy for generalized layer space.
Okay, so thank you for the introduction and thank you all for being here. So this is based on a joint project with Philip Schlicht, and the motivation for the kinds of questions we're looking at comes from Ramsey's theory. So from the question whether Ramsey's theorem for infinite graphs can be generalized to uncountable. So is it true that every uncountable graph has either an uncountable clique or anti-clique, or only does any coloring pairs of an uncountable set have an uncountable homogeneous subset? So Sziraki counterexample, Sziraki showed that this fails for arbitrary graphs on the set of reals, but his counterexample is very non-constructive. It uses the fact that R has a well ordering. So one might wonder if the graphs, if we restrict ourselves to graphs which are definable in some sense, whether we can still get this version of Ramsey's theorem to hold. And in fact, Galvin showed that Ramsey's theorem does hold for clopin graphs on R. So any clopin graph on R has either an uncountable clique or anti-clique, and even a perfect clique or anti-clique. And Glass generalizes this to Borel and hypergraphs. So in these versions, so in these versions are kind of symmetric in a sense that we're looking for either a perfect clique or anti-clique. But if we stay in the realm of open graphs on the reals, we can strengthen one of the sides of this conclusion. So we can replace the anti-clique with countable coloring. So this is basically G-Fang's theorem for the open graph dichotomy on analytic sets, and the derivative which is open coloring axiom. So an open graph is just an open subset of x times x, which is symmetric and irreflexive, where x is an arbitrary topological space. And the open graph dichotomy states that for any open graph G on X, either it has a perfect clique or it has an omega coloring in the sense that it can be written as a union of omega many anti-cliques. And by perfect, as usual, I mean a subset which is closed and has no isolated points. Or if X is a subset of the bare space, you can think of the set of branches of a cofine splitting tree. And G-Fang showed that this OGD X holds for all analytic subsets of the reals. And he also showed that in Solovey's model, or also assuming AD, it holds for all subsets of the bare space. In fact, one can wonder whether we can have a consistent with ZFC that this holds for all subsets of the bare space, but this is not possible since this dichotomy implies a perfect set property for X, i.e. that either X is countable or has a perfect subset. And we know that this fails for some subset of reals. But if in this dichotomy we replace perfect clique by uncountable clique, we get a statement that is it's consistent that it goes for all sets of reals. This is just the Dorothea which is open coloring axiom, and it follows from PFA. So recently, so in the last several years, one direction in descriptive set theory was trying to find dichotomy theorems, very general dichotomy theorems for graphs and hypergraphs, which have as applications many classical important results and also some new results. And for maybe the most well-known example of this is the G0 dichotomy, which is a structural property for cap analytic graphs. But staying in the realm of open graphs and dihypergraphs, Rafael Carrera, Miller, and Daniel Sokup have found an infinite dimensional version of the open graph dichotomy, which accomplishes this in some sense. So if kappa is some some cardinal, then we say a kappa hypergraph or kappa dimensional directed hypergraph on X is just a set of non-constant sequences of elements of X of length kappa. So kappas, so for example, we can take countable sequences. And the fact that we care about non-constant sequences corresponds to the fact that graphs have no loops. So we work with the box topology on the set of countable sequences of elements of X. So the basic open sets are just products of arbitrary open subsets of X. And the fact that we use the box topology and not the product topology is important for application. So this is why this theorem, this dichotomy will have many applications. And so the dichotomy states something like that for any box open omega dihypergraph H on X. Either it has an omega color in the usual sense that it can be written as a union of countably many antiquates, or it has a large dihypergraph in some sense. So what can be here instead of large dihypergraph? So first of all, we can try to put a perfect complete dihypergraph or perfect weak here, but that won't work even for 3 dimensions. Counterexamples by Todorchevich and Farah show that just won't work. So what Karamir and Sukuk did was replace let me go back a step. So having for graphs, having a perfect weak is just equivalent to there being a homomorphism from a continuous homomorphism from the complete graph on the Cantor space to G. And what Karamir and Sukuk did was to replace the complete graph, the role of the complete graph, by some non-directed omega dimensional version of this graph. So for the purpose of this talk, it's enough to remember that this H of omega to omega is just some canonical large dihypergraph on the bare space. And it's kind of like a omega dimensional not omega dimensional directed analog of the complete graph on the Cantor space, but let's take a look at what it looks like. So for any T of finite sequences of elements of omega, I take the sequence of its immediate successors Ti, and I take the product of the cones defined by these Ti's. So any sequence X of Xi such that Xi extends the ith immediate successor of T will be allowed, and H will consist of all such sequences. And if instead, so here I have this omega dimensional dihypergraph, but similarly I can define n dimensional dihypergraphs for any n, and if n equals 2, then I will get back a dihypergraph, actually a digraph, a directed graph, whose symmetric closure is a complete graph. And using this fact, it's not hard to show that this omega dimensional dichotomy ODD implies the open graph dichotomy for X. So Ben and Rafael and Daniel showed that, in fact, ODD holds for analytic subsets of the bare space, and assuming AB, it holds for all subsets of the bare space. And I guess one of the main motivations to study it is because it has a bunch of cool applications. So, for example, it implies the Hurwitz dichotomy and the Jane-Rogers theorem, which are kind of well-known dichotomies in strictly set theory. So the Hurwitz dichotomy says that for X says that either X contains a closed homeomorphic copy of the bare space, or it's contained in a K sigma set, i.e. a union of countably many compact sets. And the Jane-Rogers theorem characterizes piecewise continuous functions F, the closed pieces whose domain is in our class gamma. And it says that these are exactly the set of sigma 0 to measurable functions F whose domain is in gamma. And so our motivation was first to try to get this dichotomy ODD for a wider class of set of reals. to try to lift it to the setting of generalized Baire spaces, which I will talk about in the next slide, and to also obtain these applications. So we would get that on, for example, the British dichotomy and the Jane-Rogers theorem for generalized Baire spaces, which I thought would be very cool. And so for us, kappa always denotes an uncountable cardinal with capital and kappa equals kappa. So in particular, kappa is regular in this talk. So one of my questions will be, does this generalize in some meaningful way for singular cardinals? And definitions are analogous to the classical case. So the kappa Baire space is just a set of functions from kappa to kappa with the bounded topology. So the basic open sets are just codes associated to functions, to bounded functions. So functions with from S and capital S and kappa, and the cone associated to such an S is just the elements extending it. The kappa Cantor space is defined similarly. And in general, what we do when asking questions in generalized descriptive set theory is we take some classical definition or theorem in descriptive set theory and we replace the role of omega by kappa everywhere it makes sense. And and we see what happens. And usually, sometimes the analogs of classical theorems fail, just outright fail, but usually they are independent of ZFC. And some examples of the latter is the following. So consistently relative to an inaccessible cardinal, the analogs of the perfect set property and the Gurevich dichotomy hold for definable subsets of the kappa Baire space. By definable, I always mean in the setting of this talk, I always mean definable from a kappa sequence of ordinals, i.e. definable by a first order formula whose parameter is a kappa sequence of ordinals, and you can just think of elements of the kappa projective hierarchy if you guys will do that. And I also showed that I showed in my PhD thesis that the open graph dichotomy holds for kappa analytic subsets of the kappa Baire space, where kappa analytic is just a continuous image of a closed subset. And actually, the perfect set property, or for closed sets, and the open graph dichotomy for also for closed sets, implies has a consistency strength exactly of an inaccessible cardinal. So these two are definitely consistency results. So the fact that these results don't hope that maybe ODD itself can be generalized. And yeah, I guess one more thing I want to mention is when we look at these kinds of results, like when we try to prove these kinds of results, try to obtain analogs or results in classical descriptive study, like oftentimes what we do in the classical setting just doesn't lift. So we have to do something else. So it's kind of a lot harder to do these than in the classical case. So this slide just contains a straightforward kappa analog of ODD. So it says that for any box open kappa dimensional dihypergraph H on some subset X of the kappa Baire space, either it has a kappa plane or the reluctant is homomorphism from this natural kappa dimensional dihypergraph on the kappa Baire space to H, and ODD at least thinks that this property holds for H. And our main result, again, so again, by defining we always mean definable from a kappa sequence of ordinals, and our main result states that if we Levi collapse lambda to kappa plus, then for all definable subsets of X of the kappa Baire space, ODD will hold, assuming that lambda is a model cardinal in the ground model. And one can wonder, is the model cardinal necessary? So what happens if we, if for example, we want lambda to be inaccessible, because we already knew that OGD and the perfect set property hold for some definable sets, assuming just that lambda is inaccessible. So what happens so if lambda is inaccessible, what we can get is a version of ODD which is restricted to definable dihypergraphs on X. So if lambda is inaccessible and related collapse to kappa plus, then ODD XH holds for all definable box open kappa dihypergraph H on X. And in the latter case, this is an FP consistency result since ODD implies for ODD for definable dihypergraphs and definable sets implies, for example, the perfect set property for closed sets. In the first case, we don't know if the Mahler cardinal is necessary for the result itself. It is necessary for the proof. And a simplified proof works for omega. So in particular, in Solovey's model, ODD holds for all subsets. So reals and applications that we get for free is that all the applications of paramillar is so hold for definable subsets of reals consistently relative to either an inaccessible or monocardinal. And we get a new proof of the consistency of the perfect set property and the open graph dichotomy. So our next aim, once we had this main result, was to try to use the applications of paramillar and subgroup to generalize their spaces and also to obtain some new applications. And in fact, the three applications I showed on the previous slide can be lifted to generalize their spaces. So for any family gamma of subsets of the Kappa-Bear space, ODD for gamma implies analogs of the Gurevich dichotomy. The simplest analog would be that for any X in gamma, it either contains a closed homeomorphic copy of the Kappa-Bear space, or it is contained in a union of kappa many kappa compact sets. But I mean, we could get other versions of the Gurevich dichotomy where compactness is generalized in a different way instead of kappa compact things. For example, it could be the set of branches of a less than kappa splitting tree. And then on the other side, we would get something stronger than just a closed homeomorphic copy of the Kappa-Bear space. We also get analog of this calculus level within dichotomy, which I didn't really talk about, but it's on the slide. And we get an analog of the Jane-Rogers theorem, which says that for any piecewise continuous function f with closed pieces, such that its domain is in gamma. Let me rephrase that. So for any f whose domain is in gamma, it's piecewise continuous with closed pieces if and only if it's sigma 0 to kappa measurable. And okay, so let me go back. So how do we obtain such applications? In most cases, we actually in all cases we define for a given set X, we define kappa dimensional dihypergraph at H on X in some clever way, in such a way that this special case of ODD for X and H implies or maybe is even equivalent to the given dichotomy we're trying to obtain. And in the case of the Gurevich dichotomy and the Jane-Rogers theorem, the dihypergraph that we use is in fact definable. So assuming that X itself is definable. So these already follow from the definable version of our main result, which I had on the previous slide, and therefore consist relative to an inaccessible. The calculus level within dichotomy is consistent relative to a model cardinal for definable subsets of the Bear space. Okay, this is just what I have on this next slide. And I want to, in the last 5 minutes, I want to talk about two more applications. One is an asymmetric version of the Bear property for generalized Bear spaces. So we say that X has the Kappa-Bear property if there is an open set U such that its symmetric difference for if X is kappa meager, i.e. the union of kappa many covariant sets, and X has but this version of the Bear property, this natural analog scales for some kappa analytic subset of the Kappa-Bear space. So let's try a different definition. So in the descriptive set theory, the Bear property can be characterized using the Banach-Maslow game. Then where players 1 and 2 play a strictly increasing sequence of elements of omega 2 less than omega, and now we will play sequences in kappa less than kappa, and we let the game continue for kappa many rounds with player 1 playing in limit rounds. So since player 1 plays in limit rounds, this game is no longer symmetric. So the determinacy of this game will lead to some asymmetric version of the Bear property. And so the kappa-Bear property implies the asymmetric Bear property for subsets of the kappa-Bear space, and the two properties are equivalent for omega. And in fact, the definable version of ODD, so the second version of our main result, implies the asymmetric Bear property for subsets of the kappa-Bear space. And for omega, this is also a result, and it shows that ODD implies the Bear property for X. So ODD for X implies the Bear property for X. So we get a new proof of the consistency of the asymmetric Bear property for definable subsets of the kappa-Bear space or for definable subsets of the Bear space. And the other application which I'm particularly happy about is the determinacy of gain by Yoko Vannanen characterizing or generalizing Cantor-Bendixson analysis. So given a topological space, it can be decomposed into a scattered subset and a crowded subset, where crowded just means having no isolated points by iteratively removing isolated points. And if the space has countable base, then the scattered part is countable. And since I don't really have a lot of time, I'm just going to condense these last few slides. So this process of iteratively removing isolated points can be turned into a game of length omega. And if you let this game go on for length kappa, then you get natural analogs of scatteredness and cloudedness. And so, for example, X is kappa crowded if and only if its curve is kappa perfect, and if and only if theta 2 wins this game G kappa. X small x for. So I have the definition of this game on the slide. And so this is a closed game actually. So for length omega it's determined, but for length kappa we just don't know. And our final application is that ODD for the kappa-Bear space itself does imply that Vannanen's game is determined for all subsets X of the kappa-Bear space and all elements small x of X. So it implies that all subsets of the kappa-Bear space can be decomposed into a kappa scattered subset of size less than or equal to kappa, or a kappa crowded subset. And the fact this of size less than or equal to kappa was kind of trivial in the countable case. For kappa equals omega, for kappa greater than omega, it's consistent to have a kappa scattered subset of size greater than kappa. So this is actually also an important part of the theorem. So hence this property for all subsets of the kappa-Bear space is consistent relative to a monocardinal. And previously, we knew that by Vannanen's result that it's consistent for closed subsets relative to a measurable cardinal. And this is all the application I wanted to say. Thank you.
Other questions? Mark? Yeah.
So the tool that possible is for how have you already thought about it before the problem?
No, I haven't. I asked some people last week. Okay, so the question was that I mentioned that I would like to I'd be interested in finding a version of this for singular kappa, and the question was whether I had already thought about it, and the answer was no, I haven't, but I have some people who have thought about singular cardinals, and I would be happy to work together on this with them. So that's my question.
Other questions? Okay, no, let's thank the speaker.